10.1 Assessing Nutrients. Nutrition is the science of studying foods and how the body uses them. It assesses an organism's food needs, which vary, and develops a list of daily nutrient requirements. Nutrients are the substances in foods that nourish you. They're found in a variety of food and drinks, and they are needed to maintain life. Malnourishment comes when essential nutrients are missing from a diet. This can happen if you're eating too little or making poor food choices and missing out on particular nutrients. So what happens? You get sick or develop some sort of disability or illness. You have a shorter lifespan, die from starvation sometimes, or have improper growth and development. The first nutrient of the 6 that we're going to talk about are carbohydrates. These are sugars and starches, and they're the primary supply of energy. The fiber that they provide helps to move food through our digestive tract as well. So for instance, carbohydrates, of course, come from rice, bread, cereal, potatoes, pasta, but a lot of people forget that carbohydrates also come from fruits and vegetables as well. Proteins help to build body tissue, regulate chemical activity within our body, and supply energy when carbohydrates and fats aren't available. Proteins come from meat, fish, eggs, beans, milk, nuts. A condition where we have a lack of protein would be, I'm not even going to attempt this one, Kwashiorkor disease. It leads to changes in hair color or texture. Hair can turn a slightly reddish color, a loss of muscle mass, a failure to gain height and grow, and an increased or more severe infections, irritability, lethargy or apathy, again being tired. A large belly that sticks out is common. Diarrhea, changes in skin pigment, so the color of your skin. Edema, which means swelling, and rashes. So here we can see somebody's swollen feet. Again, this would be edema, which isn't just related to this disease. Of course, it can come from a variety of factors, but if you're having multiple symptoms, that could have been something that would lead to it. The distended stomach or a large stomach that sticks out is common. We see this in malnourishment cases in third world countries. Fats provide energy, insulate, and absorb fat-soluble vitamins. They're a main component of brain and nerve tissue, so they're very important. They're stored in the body for use as an energy source when carbohydrates are in short supply. Examples of fats would be butter, nuts, oils, fish, red meats, avocados. Vitamins are either fat or water soluble. Vitamins are not produced in our body, but ingested with food or from food. They help to carry out life functions such as growth and reproduction and are super essential. So vitamin A, D, E, and K are found in fatty foods because they are fat soluble, and that's where we would store them within our bodies, is within the fats. Vitamin B and C are found in water, and they would be stored in the different cells in our body as well. Don't forget that vitamin D isn't actually one, we do eat it in food. It is present in foods, but the biggest source of vitamin D is actually sunlight. And most of us living in Calgary don't get enough sunlight for our vitamin D intake. So a lot of people take a supplement. A vitamin C deficiency could lead to scurvy. And some of the kind of classic signs and symptoms of that would be dry splitting hair, some easy bruising, gingivitis or swelling of our gums, nosebleeds, and then lots of other things as it gets more serious. So gums that are inflamed, and teeth will start to fall out, which is very interesting. So on expeditions way back in the time of explorers, they didn't have enough canned goods or preserves, and they didn't have access to fresh fruits and vegetables, and they ended up with scurvy often. And so they would kind of slowly get some of these symptoms, most commonly these teeth. A vitamin D deficiency, again, vitamin D is what we get from the sun, brings on a whole host of symptoms. Most seriously, people without enough vitamin D in their childhood develop what's called rickets. And it's this bowing of the legs, and is not just structural, but within our actual bones. So a lot more permanent. Minerals are a structural component of body tissues. They help to carry out life functions. So for instance, potassium and sodium are really important for muscle contraction. The most important muscle, of course, being our heart. So the beating of our heart relies on those two minerals. Iron is present in the hemoglobin in our blood. We need hemoglobin specifically to carry oxygen. Without hemoglobin, there will be no oxygen moved within our blood. Calcium, of course, to develop bone strength. Iodine helps our metabolism. It's part of our thyroid gland. And so table salt is kind of a contentious thing because, of course, it can lead to high blood pressure, and we don't want to have too much salt in our diet. However, salt contains sodium, and it also contains chlorine, which is really important for water regulation or sweating in our bodies. So salt is still important within our diet. It's just making sure that we're not having too much of it. And last but not least is water. Water is essential to dilute and dispose of body wastes and toxins, and it moves nutrients through cells and around the body. It also controls body temperature and blood pressure, so very important to drink enough water. So how do we get these nutrients? We get these by eating a balanced diet. Again, malnutrition can happen to those who don't eat enough in general and those who have a poor diet. So they may eat lots, but they don't get enough of each of our nutrients. Here's a representation of Canada's most recent food guide, kind of showing approximately half of your servings of food each day should be fruits and vegetables. And those can include root vegetables. You see here we've got some potatoes, sweet potatoes, carrots. So we're not splitting into every different type of like starch, carbohydrate, etc. Just again, making sure we're having approximately half of our food servings a day are fruits and vegetables. From there, we want to divide into a quarter of what we eat each day of protein, and it shows lots of different options of protein, from meat to fish, beans, eggs, legumes, so like peas and such, tofu. We can also get protein from some dairy, so a Greek yogurt has lots of protein, or if you like cottage cheese, those kinds of things. And then a last quarter would be whole grain foods. So we've got rice and pasta, whole wheat bread, etc. And then last but not least, make water your drink of choice. Again, water is an essential nutrient within our body, and most of us don't drink enough water. So ensuring that we are drinking water throughout the day, and making note of that. Some practice on page 203, number 1, 2, 3, and 4 for you there.